12-year-old girl's murder was caught on video, and it's shocking. In this story, we dive into the heartbreaking case of Jocelyn Nungara, a 12-year-old girl whose life was tragically cut short. Join us as we uncover the chilling details of her disappearance, the investigation that followed, and the shocking events that led to the arrest of those responsible. Stay tuned to hear more about how this tragedy sparked important conversations and changes. If you enjoy stories like this, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit the bell to stay updated. These are the last recorded images of 12-year-old Jocelyn Lisel Nungara, whose life was tragically cut short far too soon. The footage captures her in the company of two men who, only moments later, would be responsible for her untimely death. What began as an innocent attempt to carve out her own moment of freedom turned into a heartbreaking tragedy. Born on December 27, 2011 in Texas, Jocelyn, lovingly called Josie by her family, was a radiant and vibrant soul. Her mother, Alexis Nungara, had her as a teenager, and though young, Alexis embraced motherhood with joy and hope for her daughter's future. Despite the absence of her father, Jocelyn grew up surrounded by love, described as affectionate, witty, and extraordinarily beautiful. Jocelyn was known for her vivacious personality and remarkable determination. Her family and friends admired her confidence and the light she brought into every room. She was the kind of child who always wore a smile, radiating positivity and a love for life. As the eldest sibling, Jocelyn had a particularly strong connection with her sister Gabby, whom she both inspired and protected. She encouraged Gabby to stand tall in the face of challenges, often acting as her shield against the harshness of the world, especially at school. Jocelyn's kindness extended beyond her family. Her classmates spoke of her as a loyal and compassionate friend who found beauty in everyone she met. Beyond her warm personality, Jocelyn excelled academically and artistically. She was an exceptional student with a flair for music, playing the cello in a local youth orchestra. Her interests were diverse and reflected her curious and creative spirit. Whether she was dancing, recording videos, or dreaming of opening animal shelters for stray pets, Jocelyn had an undeniable passion for life. Her talents and ambitions hinted at a bright future that was tragically stolen from her. In March 2024, Jocelyn's family moved from Conroe to North Houston, hoping for new beginnings in a close-knit community in Harris County, Texas. However, this change, filled with optimism, would soon take a devastating turn. Adjusting to her new environment wasn't easy for Jocelyn, as she had to leave her school friends behind and adapt to unfamiliar surroundings. Despite the challenges, her family remained hopeful. On the night of June 16, 2024, a seemingly ordinary Sunday evening, Jocelyn's mother, Alexis, reminded her to go to bed early as they had an early start planned for the next morning. The family settled in for the night, unaware of the nightmare that was about to unfold. Around 3 a.m., Alexis noticed Jocelyn's cat behaving restlessly. Assuming her daughter was soothing the cat, she dismissed the incident and went back to sleep. When morning came, Alexis began her usual routine, but quickly sensed something was wrong. Jocelyn's room was empty, and there were no signs of her anywhere in the house. Panic set in as Alexis frantically searched the apartment complex, calling out for her daughter. The once quiet morning turned into a desperate search as neighbors joined in to help locate Jocelyn. What should have been an ordinary start to the week became a mother's worst nightmare as she realized her daughter was missing. Each passing minute heightened the sense of urgency and fear. Jocelyn's disappearance sent shockwaves through the community, leaving family, friends, and authorities racing against time to piece together. Desperation consumed Alexis as she searched tirelessly for her missing daughter, Jocelyn. Remembering the GPS tracking feature on her daughter's phone, Alexis clung to the hope it might provide answers. Following the location signal, she was led to a nearby stream where an unsettling scene was already unfolding. Police officers were stationed by the water, their somber expressions hinting at the gravity of the situation. Earlier that morning, around 6 a.m., Billie Jean Jackson, a local resident, had made a horrifying discovery while driving home after dropping her husband off at work. She initially assumed the object floating in the stream was a discarded mannequin, but as she drew closer, the dreadful truth became clear. It was a human body. Overwhelmed, Jackson immediately dialed 911, summoning the Houston Police Department's dive team, who arrived within minutes to recover the remains. By the time Alexis reached the scene, her worst fears had been confirmed. The body retrieved from the water was indeed Jocelyn. Overcome with grief, Alexis could barely comprehend the devastating reality. That same afternoon, local authorities held a press conference to inform the public of the discovery. They assured the community that the investigation into Joseline's death was a top priority and promised justice for the young girl whose life had been cruelly taken. The announcement shook the community, and the tragedy quickly gained attention across the state. As the investigation began, detectives worked tirelessly to piece together Joseline's final hours. A forensic examination was conducted, revealing harrowing details about her death. The autopsy concluded that Joseline had died from asphyxiation caused by compression of the neck, officially classifying her death as a homicide. This revelation not only deepened the gravity of the crime, but also galvanized law enforcement to pursue the case with relentless determination. Investigators vowed to leave no stone unturned in their search for those responsible. The forensic report unveiled further horrors that intensified the heartbreak. It was determined that Joseline had been sexually assaulted before her death, a sickening discovery that underscored the cruelty of the crime. Additionally, the examination revealed clear evidence that Joseline had resisted her attackers. Defensive wounds on her body painted a picture of her bravery and refusal to give up, even in the face of unimaginable violence. Her resilience only added to the urgency of the investigation, with authorities driven to bring her killers to justice. On June 18, 2024, just 2 days after Joseline's body was found, investigators made their first significant breakthrough. Leads began to surface, offering glimpses into the events leading to her death. The combination of forensic evidence, witness accounts, and surveillance footage was beginning to form a clearer picture of the tragedy. Each discovery brought them one step closer to identifying the individuals responsible for robbing Joseline of her future. The community watched closely as updates emerged, grieving alongside Joseline's family while hoping for swift justice. The tragedy of a young girl's stolen life became a rallying cry for action as law enforcement pushed forward with unrelenting resolve. Every detail revealed in the investigation served as a chilling reminder of the fragility of life and the strength of those determined to seek justice for the innocent. Investigators released a series of images gathered from security cameras in the area, documenting Joseline's final hours. The footage showed her entering a convenience store around midnight, a store she often frequented and where she felt at ease. This familiarity made her actions that night seem routine, but the details that emerged from the footage soon cast a shadow over the tragic events. The video revealed that 2 unidentified men were in the store at the same time as Joseline. Both wore baseball caps that obscured parts of their faces, but their movements caught the attention of investigators who quickly identified them as key persons of interest. The men did not appear to have entered the store with Joseline, nor did they interact with her in a way that suggested they knew her beforehand. Their presence seemed to be a tragic coincidence. As the investigation deepened, more details about Joseline's actions that night began to emerge. It was revealed that she had been on the phone with her 13-year-old boyfriend just before the attack. Due to his age, his identity was not disclosed, but his testimony proved to be a critical piece of the puzzle. The boy told police that during their call, he overheard Joseline speaking to 2 adult men. The conversation ended abruptly, which raised alarm bells for investigators, as this was the last known contact Joseline had before the assault occurred. Christian Goff, an employee of the convenience store, also provided valuable testimony. Goff, who was familiar with Joseline as a regular customer, had finished his shift that night when he saw her near the store's storage room. He recalled that she appeared to be hiding or avoiding someone, though at the time he couldn't identify who or what was causing her distress. This haunting observation added a chilling layer to the timeline of events, further emphasizing how vulnerable Joseline had been in her final moments. The details surrounding the interactions between Joseline and the 2 unidentified men painted a grim picture of what might have unfolded. While the men's intentions remained unclear, the fact that they had been near her just before the attack solidified their status as prime suspects. With mounting pressure, law enforcement ramped up their efforts to track down these individuals. They combed through additional security footage from nearby businesses, hoping to find clear. The arrests brought a mix of relief and anger to the grieving family and community. While the suspects were in custody, the knowledge that they had been so close to Joseline's final resting place was deeply unsettling. For Alexis, it was a small step toward justice, but an agonizing reminder of the senseless violence that had shattered her family. As the investigation continued, the Nungaray family clung to the hope that the legal system would provide the closure they so desperately needed. The arrest of Franklin Jose Peña Ramos and Johan Castro marked a turning point in the investigation into Jocelyn Nungaray's tragic death. Both men were identified as immigrants, Franklin from Mexico and Johan from Venezuela. They were promptly charged with capital murder, providing a significant breakthrough in the case that had gripped the community. While little was initially known about the suspects, authorities soon revealed that both men had prior encounters with law enforcement. These revelations raised questions about how such individuals had remained at large long enough to commit such a heinous crime. According to records, both men had been apprehended by U.S. Border Patrol earlier in the year. Johan was detained on March 14th in El Paso, Texas, while Franklin was taken into custody 2 weeks later, on March 28th. The circumstances of their illegal entries into the United States were unclear, but their arrests followed standard procedures for such cases. Despite being detained, both men were later released on bail with specific conditions. They were required to wear electronic monitoring devices and make regular court appearances as part of their release agreements. However, both failed to comply, removing their monitors and effectively disappearing from law enforcement's radar. The critical lead that resulted in their capture came on the evening of June 19th, 2 days after Jocelyn's body was discovered. A confidential informant contacted the police claiming that a cousin, identified only as Joe, had been living with Franklin and Johan. After seeing the widely publicized images of the suspects on television, the informant immediately recognized them and provided authorities with detailed information about their whereabouts. Acting on this tip, the police quickly moved to locate and apprehend the suspects at an apartment complex not far from the crime scene. The arrests were accompanied by a press conference in which ICE confirmed that both men had entered the country illegally and had managed to evade capture after absconding from their court-ordered monitoring programs. The news ignited public outrage, as many questioned how individuals with prior records and clear violations of legal conditions had been able to roam freely. The arrest provided some measure of relief to Jocelyn's grieving family and the community, though the details that emerged about the suspects and their actions only deepened the tragedy. As investigators interrogated Franklin and Johan, they began piecing together the chain of events that led to Jocelyn's death. On the night of June 16th, the men reportedly started their evening at a restaurant in Northborough where they spent several hours. Witness accounts and surveillance footage suggested that they had been drinking and appeared to be in high spirits. At some point, they left the restaurant and began walking south, eventually encountering Jocelyn, who was outside alone. Authorities believe the men approached her under the guise of asking for directions, a tactic they likely used to gain her trust. The three were later captured on security footage at the convenience store, a familiar spot for Jocelyn where they appeared to engage briefly before leaving together. From there, the suspects and Jocelyn made their way to a nearby bridge, a location that would soon become the site of an unthinkable crime. Based on forensic evidence and witness testimony, police concluded that it was at this bridge where Franklin and Johan sexually assaulted Jocelyn before ending her life. The grim details of the attack left investigators and the community horrified, underscoring the senseless brutality of the crime and the urgent need for justice. After the assault, Franklin and Johan committed the unthinkable. They strangled Jocelyn and left her lifeless body in the shallow waters beneath the bridge, abandoning her in a desolate place. Shockingly, the men then returned to their apartment, walking calmly as though nothing had happened. In the days that followed, investigators uncovered chilling details about their actions. It was revealed that they had discussed plans to flee the country after the crime, aware that law enforcement was closing in on them. In a desperate attempt to evade capture, Johan even shaved his head to alter his appearance, hoping to avoid recognition as their images spread across the media. Despite their efforts, both were apprehended before they could escape justice. On June 21st, prosecutors officially charged Franklin and Johan with capital murder. The severity of the charges reflected the horrific nature of their crime. A court hearing was held on June 23rd, during which bail was set at an astronomical $10 million, ensuring that neither man would be able to walk free while awaiting trial. During the proceedings, Franklin made a partial confession, admitting to having mistreated Jocelyn, but shifting blame for the fatal injuries onto Johan. He claimed that Johan had given him instructions to dispose of Jocelyn's body, which he followed without question. Johan, on the other hand, initially denied any involvement in the murder. However, under pressure, he eventually confessed to his role in the crime. The suspects are now scheduled to appear in court again in September 2024, with the community eagerly awaiting justice for Jocelyn. As the legal proceedings began, Jocelyn's family prepared to lay their beloved daughter to rest. Her funeral took place on June 27, 2024, at Earthman Rest Haven Cemetery, a deeply emotional event that brought together hundreds of mourners. The service, described as both heartbreaking and beautiful, was followed by a celebration of Jocelyn's life held at Gallery Furniture, a local business known for its generosity. The store's owner, Jim Mackingvale, known affectionately as Mattress Mac, graciously covered all funeral expenses, easing the financial burden on the grieving Nungaray family. The events were open to the public, and community members came out in large numbers to offer their condolences and show their support. Jocelyn's tragic death left the Houston community in mourning, but it also inspired a powerful sense of solidarity. Neighbors, classmates, and strangers united to remember the young girl whose life had been taken far too soon. At the funeral, her mother, Alexis, delivered an emotional eulogy, recounting her daughter's dreams, talents, and the joy she brought to their lives. Her words painted a picture of a vibrant and loving girl, making the loss all the more poignant. The community's outpouring of love and support was a testament to Jocelyn's impact, even in her short life. For many, the tragedy served as a stark reminder of the dangers faced by young girls and the urgent. In the wake of Jocelyn's murder, the case quickly became a focal point in political debates. Texas Governor Greg Abbott issued a firm statement calling for the death penalty for both Franklin and Johan, a move that drew both support and criticism from various groups. Former President Donald Trump also weighed in, using the tragedy as a platform to criticize the Biden administration's immigration policies. Trump claimed that lax border security had allowed dangerous individuals like Franklin and Johan to enter the country and commit horrific crimes. His remarks intensified the already heated debate surrounding immigration reform and criminal justice policies. Responding to the controversy, Homeland Security Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas assured the public that the suspects would face the full weight of the justice system. Meanwhile, Texas Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick announced plans to introduce new legislation inspired by the case. Dubbed Jocelyn's Law, the proposed bill aims to prevent individuals. The Nungar family is now left to navigate a life forever altered by the tragic loss of their beloved daughter. For them, the journey toward justice transcends mere legal proceedings. It is an essential step in healing the emotional scars left by such senseless violence. Every aspect of their grief is intertwined with their desire to honor Jocelyn's memory, ensuring that her legacy will have meaning beyond the tragedy that stole her from them. The legal process serves as a way for them to seek justice not only for Jocelyn, but for all those who suffer from violence. As the case against Franklin and Johan unfolds, the Nungari family holds on to hope that the legal system will bring the closure they desperately need. The investigation has captured national attention, igniting debates around the complexities of immigration policy and the need to ensure that public safety is a priority. Beyond the immediate desire for justice for their daughter, the Nungari family remains steadfast in their commitment to driving a broader societal conversation about crime prevention and victim rights. While the road ahead remains uncertain and difficult, they are determined to see the case through to its resolution. Jocelyn's death is a stark reminder of the unpredictable nature of life and the senselessness of violence that can change everything in an instant. Her memory remains etched in the hearts of her family and the broader. Though the trial of Franklin and Johan is set for September 2024, the Nungari family's quest for justice will extend far beyond the courtroom. The tragedy that took Jocelyn's life is not something that can be easily understood, but her story is one that will continue to inspire action for change. Her memory will forever serve as a testament to the power of love, resilience, and community. In the wake of their loss, the Nungari family draws strength from each other and the ongoing pursuit of a world where no family has to experience the same grief. The tragic story of Jocelyn Nungare reminds us of the vulnerability of young lives and the dangers that can lurk even in everyday situations. It also highlights the importance of community, justice, and the need for stronger safeguards to protect those who cannot protect themselves. Jocelyn's memory serves as a powerful call for change to ensure no family has to endure such a devastating loss. Thank you for joining us in remembering Jocelyn's story. If you found this video meaningful, please like, comment, and subscribe for more. Your support helps us continue to share important stories. Stay safe, stay informed, and we'll see you next time.